Welcome, pool lovers from around the world. Good move clicking this link. You have landed in the quarterfinal stage of the Predator Bucharest Open 2022 between the current world 9-ball champion Shane van Boening, the South Dakota kid, and the man breaking right now, Marc Bijsterbosch from the Netherlands. Well, beautifully executed cut break there, making the corner ball, making the one ball in the side as well though. Just asking Shane if he can remove the rack and just hold the 9 up and put it back down. So this is a race to 11 single elimination stage. So at this point, if you snooze, you lose. Or if you lose, you snooze. I think that's what it is. About 200 players started this event. We are down to the last 8 this morning. And that was in 2022. Don't know when you're watching this, but we started with 32 amazing 9-ball players and we have only 8 left. So 2 rounds have been played and the field has been whittled down from 200 to 8 players, among which these two. Marc Bijsterbosch played a nice stun shot on that 2-ball, but he needed to keep an angle on that 4-ball. So smooth start, I can tell you. Marc Bijsterbosch, a really talented pool player if you don't know him yet. Has played in a few matchroom events and displayed his talents alongside Niels Feyen in their World Cup of Pool partnership. A mainstay on the Euro Tour and a regular high finisher there, albeit he hasn't won a Euro Tour yet, I believe. He did win the European Championships 10-ball division though, about 3 years ago in Faro, Portugal, and he's taking a 1-0 lead. Alternate break, 9-ball on the spot. Shane's trying to make the brown 7, bottom left corner pocket. There, succeeded. Now, in essence, they're trying to make the corner ball from where they're breaking. The 1 ball is a likely candidate to disappear into the side pockets, into the opposite side pocket from where they're breaking, but that means they cannot play position on a ball because the 2 balls racked in a wild or random way, either at the bottom of the rack or just randomly. So you never know where that ends up. So if they don't make the 1 ball in the side, it tends to go towards either the top left or right corner pocket. So that's a way you can play position in a rotation game. But I think sometimes the rack on the table just makes way for the 1 ball to be made quite often, and then it gets harder to play position on the 2 ball. Shane with the jump shot. Knew he was probably going to collide with that pink 4. That's a pretty good result. Albeit, if he makes this 3 naturally, it's hard to put any backspin on the cue ball without elevating the cue. He's going to run into the black 8, and that doesn't give him a nice shot on the 4 ball, albeit it would be a half ball cut down the rail. Will he accept that, or will he still elevate his cue? Chose the latter. Now would either like to stun his cue ball into the rail and around the pink 4. I think that's what he attempted. Just hit the cue ball ever so slightly too low in tip position, meaning he gave it a bit more backspin than he wanted, or a bit too little. Who knows? I have to ask him after. So now faced this 4 ball down the rail still, but at a steeper angle. Position on the 5 should be pretty natural. Ooh, that was never in. Always rolled along the same line, too far away from the rail. Right, so Marc with a chance to steal Shane's break. Take a 2-0 lead. Race to 11, remember. In this, the latter stages of what you can see in the top right of your screen, the Predator Bucharest Open, the Dan Fisher Trophy. Marc Bijsterbosch, a really talented player. He's got a pretty big stroke, almost. Well, no one plays like Shane, but it's a little bit similar in length of stroke. And just a really naturally gifted player. Makes the game look easy, but also kind of knows the way of the white. Like, what spin do you need to give, or how little spin can you give and still make the cue ball dance along the lines of your positional imagination. And also, if he needs extreme spins, he's very capable of doing that. So, cutting this break. Beautiful hit on the one ball. Made the corner ball. Again though, made the one ball, meaning, well, who knows where that two ball is going to end up? No one knows. Now, could bank it. What would you do? Position on the 3 is, with a bit of stun, is pretty guaranteed. If he misses the bank, the 6-7 could help him out in hiding the two ball behind either one of those two balls. And he's got a 2-0 lead, so keep the momentum going. Yes. Nice. Good execution there, good speed. Had to bank that fairly slow, or slower than you would normally want to bank that ball. So, the Beast Bijsterbosch from the Netherlands, looking to take a 3-zip lead against the current world 9-ball champion. Don't know if he's beaten SVB before in a meaningful world-class pool tournament. I can tell you the other players that are still featured while we're looking at Mark running out this rack. So we also still have Jose Delgado, who's playing Mark He. We also had Victor Salinski playing Michael Schneider. We have Oliver Zolnocki playing Petri Markkonen. We also had Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, FSR, playing Dennis Grabe from Estonia. Alex Pechelch is playing Dimitri Jungo. Imran Majid is squaring off against Ko Pin-Yi, so I think this is the last 16. And Ralph Souquet is playing Nick Economopoulos from Greece. So, well, surely by all the names I've just mentioned, you can get a taste of the quality in this field. And if you want to win this tournament, you better bring your A game most of the times. Alright, so 3-0. Mark attempting this cut. Ooh, no go. But left Shane snookered. 2-9 combination was all of a sudden created, so it's a hunt for the one ball, you'd imagine. Whoever makes the one should be big favorite to take this game. Shane with the jump. Basically cut it as thin as you can. You won't be able to overcut this ball. Hit it too thick. Bit of a wild jump, wasn't it? A little bit of a fast cue ball, but hey, look at this brilliant safety. No one could have imagined that happening prior to him taking that jump shot. Alright, so I think it's hard to hit. I think Mark is going to jump kick this shot. So he's going to jump the cue ball over the green 6 into the far short rail and try to give his cue ball no spin whatsoever. So really pay attention to hitting the cue ball in the center line to make it come straight. Ooh, just too wide. Alright, so Shane ball in hand. So the hunt for the one ball has not really by design, but has been won by Shane van Boening in this 4th game of a race to 11. Nice. So, on the cut break, the players are trying to hit the one ball as such that the cue ball drifts, in this case, straight to the right long rail. Not lower than the one ball. Higher is okay, but that's as low as you can go, kind of, with the cue ball. And you want to achieve that by hitting the cue ball about 4, was it? Looking from where Mark is breaking, about 7, 8 o'clock. And hitting the one ball just off straight. should do that trick at a certain speed. You can't just blast it, because then the corner ball doesn't have enough time to drift into the corner pocket. Alright, so really nice start by Bijsterbosch. Pretty okay this straight angle. We can draw his cue ball straight back to where his arm is. Nice, but that's a bit of a no angle situation. As I've mentioned before, if your next object ball in the rotation is not in a straight line with your current object ball, then you'd always want to keep a 20 to 40 degree angle to make the shot very doable, but still make your cue ball maneuverable. If your next ball in the rotation is in line with the current object ball you're shooting, then you may as well leave a straight in shot or a just off straight shot. So that's kind of what these players are constantly doing. Most of the time. There are always exceptions in this game of pool. Isn't it amazing that these players, even with a template break or template racked 9 balls, none of these balls will ever land in exactly the same spot. In all of their, well, how many games do you think Shane has played in his life, including his practice hours? I mean, let's not even go trying to guesstimate how many that is, but tens of thousands, you would have to say, at least. All right, so Marc, nice rack, 4-1, good lead. Wants to keep his foot on the gas, or his foot on Shane's neck, if some people might say, to really not give him any breathing space. Although that's hard to do in an alternate break format. Of course, you're always giving, or players will always have a breaking chance every other game. So this one kind of wants to bring his cue ball back to where his head is, or where his arm is, or that same position but then on the left side of the table. Ooh, and this is a bit of an in-betweener. Should still be able to manage this. I mean, this is SVB we're talking about. But all in all, if you keep having to produce, let's say, too much quality in any or many of your shots during your run out, eventually you're going to come out unstuck. A lot of spin on his cue ball. Hit that a bit too thin, that's why his cue ball drifted further than he imagined. Now, this is quite nice in a way, because if he makes the 4 in the right side pocket, the cue ball is going to drift to the right side of the 6 and not scratch, hitting that short rail part and coming straight back up. Still wants an angle though, and that's very nicely done. So he's finally back in line. Cost him about 4 shots to do so. Most of the time, Shane or many other world-class players will do it in 1 or 2 maximum shots. The correction of any positional difficulties. Alright, so a bit too straight on this 6 ball. Gonna draw his cue ball back. Zip. Ooh, that spin, that left spin was a bit more than he imagined, I believe. And oh no, oh no. The worst parts of a pool player's life is when you're running out to then come unstuck and have to play safe. Ooh, no. We've all been there. So Shane gonna drift the black 8 to the bottom rail and the cue ball to the other. No matter how good a shot it was, even if it was snookered, he still left Marc back to the table, and Marc could either make it the way he planned it, in this case the bank, or he might get away with it, and then that's all self-inflicted agony, isn't it? Alright, so hit it too thin. So after all that, remember the jump shot miss? Oh no, that was the previous game. I thought that was all blurred into one game. Shane gonna take his second rack out of 6, trailing 2 racks to 4. So the cut break, let's see if they're gonna make the corner ball and not make the 1 ball. So he's trying to make the corner ball or the orange 5 below the corner ball on the right side, in the bottom right corner pocket. Alright, made neither. Ooh, 1 ball didn't go into the side, came off of the knuckle, hit another ball, and somehow found gravity. But didn't comply with the 3-point rule. For those of you not familiar with that, 3-point rule means to avoid players breaking extremely soft, 3 points have to be gathered on the break. That can be done by making 3 balls, or any ball passing the breaking line, so the line from where you're breaking, also counts as a point. Now, Mark made the 1 ball, that's 1 point, but only the 8 ball passed the breaking line, meaning he only collected 2 breaking points. And that's not good enough, so control of the table passes back to Shane. Now, if he didn't like the table the way it was, you could give it back to Mark again, and Mark would still also be able to push out. Shane can also push out, but I think he's playing safe in this case. Now, the 3-point rule was devised, I believe, on the European continent in response to, most clearly, Corey Jewell winning the US Open, playing a really soft cut break, and therefore making the corner ball and then being able to keep his cue ball and the 1 ball under such tight control that he was just running out rack after rack. And actually then the balls were placed in fairly similar positions because he was, hardly thumping the rack. He was just kind of stunning his cue ball into the rack, making the corner ball, so no risk at all. So the game of pool with the dynamic opening break turned into a bit of a boring procession, and so they invented the 3-point rule. Now you know, if you didn't already. So Mark is going to apply bottom left spin on his cue ball to straighten up his cue ball off the right rail. Zip, because that wasn't a natural angle. Good hit. Still though, no direct pot for Shane. Would immediately be looking if he could bank the 2 in the side. But I think that doesn't hold easy position on the 3. So he can thread his 2 ball in between the green and the orange and send the 2 ball towards the 8, somewhere on the top rail there, and then his cue ball, where his cue is now. Something like that. See, then he has the 6, the 9 and the 8 that then form a wall of balls. Could also bring his cue ball back to where it is now, but I don't think he's, in order to bring his 2 ball in between that green 6 and orange 5, he's going to hit it thicker, not allowing his cue ball to come back to where it is now, or else he would give up the 2 ball again. And it's also less cue ball movement like that. Easier to control. Nicely executed. And there's a window for his cue ball at least to roll in between the 6 and 9. Don't think he can see the 2, so we'll still be kicking off the bottom rail. Alright, so as you can see from where he's pointing his cue, that's where he wants to send the 2 ball. So he wants to load up his cue ball with a lot of left spin, hit the top rail, and hit the 2 ball full on to kick and stick, as they call it. Stop his cue ball where it is now, or where the 2 ball is now. Hit that one too thin, but hey, look at this result. Right, so Shane bringing back the Q-Tech jump stick. Shane, pretty clearly sponsored by Q-Tech, as you can see from the rather large font on the back of his shirt. The second well, you could say the first two players sponsored by Q-Tech in the 90s already. Wow, I'm showing my pool age here. Were Earl Strickland. Alison Fisher was also sponsored by Q-Tech a few years. Those were the most high-profile players. These days, they have none other than Shane Van Boening and Fedor Gorst in their stable. It's a pretty strong showing. Right, so Mark left with this 2-ball. But his cue ball, isn't that going to run into the orange 5? Do you want to bank it to avoid hitting any other balls? I think so. Bank it and stun draw his cue ball back to the center area of table, or where the black is. No, he's not going to bank it. Wow, did you see that spin he was able to get? Whoa, and the cue ball still had spin off of the third rail. Wow, I didn't expect that. I expected a much slower reaction off that third rail. It's too bad we don't have a replay button for myself here. I might be playing with that button all the time otherwise. So, safety you'd imagine. Now, not good enough because you want to avoid players being able to jump and potentially make the ball. That's too easy of an escape. Imagine if his cue ball had been stuck against the pink 4. It would be a very hard ball to kick at, with the 3-ball being so far out in the open. Now if Shane makes the 3-ball, his cue ball is going to turn left somewhat with the angle he's faced with, and then of course the brown 7-ball becomes a blocking ball for his shot on the 4, you'd imagine, so cannot just jump it in. Kind of also needs some work on his cue ball. I don't know, draw, follow through. Alright, it's hitting it pretty low. Here we go. A lot of action on this cue ball, you'd imagine. First of course, clear the 7-ball first hurdle. Oh, what a beautiful shot. That cue ball had so much backspin on it. Oh, that was beautiful. And I think he did it with a whole cue as well. Or exactly, he did it with his plain cue but without his usual extension. So with a full cue jump shot. I love that. And I've mentioned him just now, but Earl Strickland was an amazing full cue jump artist. He was really not happy with the invention of the shorter jump cues, and rightfully so, I think. Anyway, that's another discussion. Shane, though, because of that amazing jump shot and position on the 4, looking to not go 5-2 behind, but only 3-4 behind. So important, race to 11, well, any race, but what a difference, a 3-game deficit or only a 1-game deficit. And he's breaking that as well, yes, so Shane breaks the even games, Mark breaks the odd games, because he won the lag. Nicely done. Right, so still though, both players breaking from opposite sides, which is interesting. On the cut break, often players would, if one player has success from one side, another player would follow that. Not this time. Alright, so trying to make the pink 4, bottom left, maybe the 1-ball in the right side pocket. The cue ball straight to the left rail, and that's good, that's good. Didn't make the corner ball. Made the 2-ball and the 1-ball though. No. The 3 pots in the right side. Will he be able to keep position on the 4 ball over which he just lifted the template rack? Does the 4 ball pass the 8? I mean, it theoretically goes in the pocket nearest to us, that 4 ball, but won't be able to get his cue ball there solely because he can kind of only roll the 3 ball in and put no juice on his cue ball because of his stuck on the rail position. Ooh. Oh, that's a pretty good shot. Nice tempo. Now that's not some kind of song that's playing in the arena, it's the Ice Cream Man. The Ice Cream Man van passing the street below on which I live here in London town, from which I'm commentating on this match. I was there actually when this match happened. Amazing tournament. If you're ever able to oh, never mind my story, look at that. This is the main story here. I mean, Shane definitely had room to make that. Very disappointing, but now what? Is Marc gonna play the 4-7 combo? Yeah, he has to, doesn't he? And then has to stun his cue ball to the left. Cannot just roll it in, because then the 4 ball after making the 7 will end up on the right side rail, and the cue ball is going to drift down towards the top left corner pocket and might not be able to make the 4, so needs his cue ball to stay, well, to not travel all the way to the top end of the table basically, so that you can see aiming low. Yeah, needed to apply that backspin, which made the ball harder. If he could have rolled that combination in for a win, he would have just rolled it in. Right, what would you do here with this 6 ball? Because it doesn't pass the 9. It might pass the 8 ball in the bottom right corner pocket. Yeah, so could play position for the 6 ball in the right side pocket. Could hold position on the 5, kind of just rolling the 4 ball in. If he stays in line where the 4 ball is now for position on the 5, like so, his cue ball will naturally drift down in between the template rack that's resting on the rail and the 9 ball. So I don't think he's in danger of snookering himself behind the 9 ball. So a natural white, so again, it's knowledge of your angles, of natural cue ball reactions. Okay, so stunned his cue ball so slightly, but that was too low on the white. He simply hit his cue ball too low. That might not have been where he was aiming his tip position, but that's where he hit it. Because with any kind of tip above center, his cue ball wouldn't have stunned like that, but would have rolled more forward. So now what? Combination 6-8. Alright, so this not being never threatened the pocket there. So not so plain sailing anymore for Marc Bijsterbosch against SVB. And could it be the player that he's facing? Is that why Marc Bijsterbosch's level is dipped a little bit? You know, a lot of players do respect, if not fear, Shane Van Boening, know the force that he brings to the table in any kind of 9 ball or 10 ball match. Everybody knows what Shane has been able to achieve already. And most players are actually fans of Shane's game, the way he strokes balls, the way he breaks, of course. But he cannot make this 6 ball, I believe, or else he would have already. Or does he have to spin it in? No. So again, safety. Cue ball, I will not scratch. So Shane's patience tested here, and a miss by Marc, and not giving away the run out. So Shane has to create a chance. I think hitting the 6 ball a little bit on the left side from where we're looking is, makes that 9 ball a big ball to snooker behind. Meaning his cue ball's gonna hit the 6 on our left side and then come towards the pocket, but never in danger of scratching. Could also hit the 6 on the right side from where we're looking and split the cue ball on the right side of the table and the 6 ball on the left side of the table, somewhere where the template rack is. That's not going to give you a snooker though, merely buying another shot hopefully. It might give away the bank though. So, we would love to hear your comments, your thoughts on this game. We would love to hear where you're watching this from. Always interested to see where our viewers and subscribers of the Billiard Network are watching these world-class pool games from. Let us know what you would like to see, who you would like to see featured on the Billiard Network, and we will do our utmost to have those players featured. They may already be featured though. Do check out the Billiard Network library on our YouTube channel. And hey, press the like button. Always helpful to promote pool worldwide. So Shane with this 6. Ooh. Not good enough, but not giving Mark anything else but a jump shot. And of course, the 6 ball almost hanging over the pocket. Any kind of quarter ball hit on the left side will make that disappear. Ooh! Didn't clear the first hurdle, so in the last 3 games, we've all seen the smooth start Mark made. He's definitely dipped, and Shane has also not played great, as he will be the first one to tell you. Well, then to come out with a 4-all scoreline after the 8th game, you'd really just have to be grateful and promise to do better in the next. Because he could have already been down 6-2, in this time frame. He could have already lost a match if Mark would have been flying. All right, game 9, all to play for, race to 11. Here we go. So they've been making the 1 ball often in the left side pocket, haven't they? See, this time the 1 ball drifts towards the corner pocket, and this is kind of like an ideal cut break. Making a corner ball. 1 ball misses the side pocket on either side of the side pocket and then drifts somewhere towards the corner. There's cue ball. Had a bit too much draw on it and maybe a bit too full of a hit. That's why usually it ends up in the center area of the table. So now he's faced with a pretty steep cut. And I don't think, well, theoretically it's possible, I think, but it's too thin of a cut, and also needs his cue ball to kind of come to this south side of the table for a position on the blue 2. So is he forced to play safe? I would love to not let Shane back to the table at all. Safety could be drifting the 1 ball behind the orange, cue ball 2 rails behind the pink 4. Ooh, yeah. Extreme cut. Will have a shot on the... Will he? Won't he? Nah, he will have a shot on the 2 ball. Extreme cut though. And the cue ball is going to be careering exactly straight towards the red 3. Now that can be used to stop the cue ball, but you never know where you're going to bump that 3 ball to. If you want to avoid hitting the 3, you're going to have to apply left or right spin. But either one of those options makes that 2 ball a lot harder to make, and you kind of have to slow roll the cue ball. So what will he do? I think he hit it with the right spin, and that's it. I mean, there's distance, but that's a pretty good result, I have to say. So he hit it with the right spin. Nice shot that was, but he potted the 2 ball on the thick side. I think if he would have potted the 2 ball cleanly, his cue ball would have hit the right side rail, and anyway, he would have had a even better shot on the 3. So tester here. Nice. Isn't that nice how he drifted his cue ball? You know, never hit the 3 ball hard. And Marc was really talented in that, knowing, you know, being able to drag shots, and which is not an easy thing to do. To kind of, it's kind of like a half full stroke. You know, it's a full stroke, but you kind of want to hold back on the speed of the cue ball anyway. And that's definitely a good thing to practice. So, game 9, looking to be going Marc's way. So getting back to game-winning ways, albeit didn't want to be half bridging behind the 8, but a bit of left spin will do the trick here. Nice. So, a bit of a positional error, but then being able to correct it in one shot. That's a pretty professional way to go. Okay, so Shane to break. In game number 10. Looking to not fall 6-4 behind and kind of repeat the story over again. Wants to get back to 5 all here. 8 ball, bottom left corner pocket, first goal. There it goes, and the 1 ball missed as well. See, and then you can kind of track the 1 ball with your cue ball. Now, does that 1 ball go? Even if it goes, he's just checking that, you know, position on the 2 is kind of only available from around the area where the 9 ball is, and you won't be able to make the 1 and get the cue ball to that position, I believe, because of the angle on the 1, so I might play safe behind the 3. Wants to stick his cue ball. Beautiful. Why beautiful? Because A, he won't be jumping this, and B, the first rail that you would naturally kick off of, the left rail or the right long rail, is also not available, and 2 rail kick is also not available because the pink 4 is mostly in the way. Ooh, so it has to come 2 rails like so, with that elevation. The elevation is, if he's going to shoot it like that, you really have to be careful not to apply any left or right spin if that's the route you imagine the cue ball taking, not having any spin. That's hard to do when you're bridging over a ball. Might choose to play 3 rails in between the chalk and the 1 ball, and then hitting the 1 ball, or come 2 rails, barely miss the 4 ball, on the right side. So good safety by Shane, isn't it? You can see the brain activity in Marc's tactical brain, just to be able to get a shot that he's agreeing on playing. Yeah, no rail after the ball hit means a foul, means ball in hand. So opportunity earned by Shane, looking to get back to 5 all. So in line with what I said earlier, the 2 ball is not, or the 3 ball is not in direct line with position with the 2 ball, so wants to have a nice angle on the 2. Neither is the 4 ball in line with position with the 3 ball, so wants to keep a 20 to 40 degree angle on his 3 ball position. That can be usually done either side of that 3 ball, but usually one side offers a higher percentage success rate. Now this Shane needs to travel more than he wanted to. Now wants to keep an angle, like so. See, so now he's got that 20 degree angle, meaning very doable pot and a maneuverable cue ball. Now same on the 4-5. The 5 is not in line with where the 4 is in a potable way, so wants to keep 20 to 40 degree angle on his 4 ball. Didn't really do so, and now he has to stun his cue ball more than he wanted. Meaning, you know, more violence on the cue ball, more speed in the shot, requires better technique, requires even more accuracy, more than a rolling ball, let's say. But Shane, well, he might just be the best power shooter in the game, isn't it? The best stunner of a ball, the best extreme spin shot player, especially in high pressure moments, of which this is not yet one. But he's trailing and needs to get back to winning ways. So there he was in a great position. Again, that 20 to 40 degree angle, because the 6 was not in a connected dots position with the 5 ball. Now the 7 can be made almost from anywhere on the table, except from behind the 9 ball. And you would have to pull out the little jump stick. So this pretty good run out after that little extra travel he needed on the 2 ball. And remember, he started the run out with ball in hand, so that was a pretty bad position from the 1 to the 2. But thereafter, beautifully played by SVB. Most pool players, one of their favorite players in the world, of fans and world-class players alike. So, Marc Bijsterbosch. Remember, both have been tracking the 1 ball now after making it. Let's see if they can do that again. And made the corner ball. The 1 ball hit the knuckle of the side pocket. That will do the trick though. So doesn't have a lot of angle to play with. Could leave his cue ball where the 1 ball is now. That will give him a shot on the 6 and a natural position on the from the 2 to the 3. And main position in this game is the 3 to the 4. I would kind of like his cue ball to have position on the 3 where his cue ball is now, or somewhere thereabouts. To be able to make the 3 and then stun, draw, spin his cue ball and back down table. For position on the pink 4, which I don't think goes into the top left corner pocket. Something to be mindful of. Yikes. I mean, a shot on the 2, but his cue ball is going to be drifting to the right. Can he hold his cue ball? You see, so he's looking at the position on the 3 that I sketched, but didn't want to come from this approach because I think he has to stun his cue ball in between the 9 ball and the 5 ball. You see that little area? I think so. Can he just roll it straight? No, he can just roll it straight. What am I talking about? Alright, so he thought he was going to hit the 9 ball thinner than that, and his cue ball was going to be rolling further than it did eventually. I think that's what I've learned in my 35 years of playing, is that the cue ball usually reacts a little bit wider than you think. So that position he had on the 2 ball, you think it will kind of hit the 9 ball thin in your best guess or your best imagination, but usually it kind of reacts a little bit wider, especially in the first 2 rotations. So be mindful of that, players. So he tried to bank, but kind of banked it to miss it. If he was going to miss it, he was going to miss it like that. On the thick side, meaning his 3 ball would drift into a safe position. Now what, players? He could hit the right side of the 3 ball from where he's looking and send the 3 towards the 5. Could get a snooker like that. I think that's about all I see as a high percentage chance for a good result. What will Shane do? Yeah, so I think he tried that, but hit the 3 ball too thin. Definitely didn't want to give up the shot there. Wow. So Shane's level in this match, I guess, just hasn't been impressive, has it? I mean, we do hold him in to high standards, of course. We all know what he's capable of, especially when he's breaking and running in a winner-break situation. This is a little bit different, though. I think in general, the American players and the Asian players haven't been playing with the 9-ball racked on the spot that often, and are still kind of finding their groove with the cut break and the speed of it and position on the lowest ball afterwards. Whereas the Europeans, they've been playing the 9-ball racked on the spot, cutting the break or cutting the 1 ball and trying to make the corner ball like that. They've been playing like that for about 15 years on the Euro Tour. So quite a bit of an experience difference there. So Marc's going to try to send the 3 ball, keep his cue ball where the 3 ball is now. I mean, good idea, but I think he just left Shane on. And there's a big chance, of course, his cue ball not sticking exactly on the rail and snookering behind the 5. But he's the one that designed the shot, so you have to take ownership. So Shane, with an ideal angle on the 3 to stun his cue ball or draw his cue ball to the left side of the table for a shot on the pink 4. Could even shoot his cue ball into the green 6. So almost can't go wrong here, even though it needs a lot of finesse. That's why he's getting up. So often when you think, oh, I've got a large area to land in, that's where things go wrong sometimes, isn't it? You just lose that little bit of accuracy. Okay, so yeah, nice and interesting. So use the natural line of the white, but then with a lot of left spin. You know, could slow roll this 4 ball in to keep his cue ball naturally for position on the 5. It's better than winging his cue ball up and down the table. But it really depends. Like if you'd have a brand new cloth, the rails kind of slip a little bit or make the cue ball slip, and then I think you would be able to hold the cue ball. But these, I remember playing on these beautiful Brunswick Gold Crown 4s, by the way, of which there are a mere 40 in the pool hall that you're currently watching. The rails were pretty reactive, so not bouncy, but not easy to hold your cue ball. So that's why he's looking at an alternative route. 2 rails, that's exactly where he wanted to be. Beautiful shot. So, could this be, as it so often turns out to be, you know, the midway of the match, midway point of the match, end of the match, where Shane really brings quality, sometimes because of the pressure he's on, also because he just kind of has a natural feel, B, a very trained feel, and C, he's just so often in the thick of things and playing sets, and you know, sometimes you just don't display the level that you wish to display, or you just kind of keep at it, and Shane definitely always does that. He may show his disappointment at times, but he will never try any less hard on the next shot, and that's a big lesson to learn. Even though we kind of are all aware of that lesson, it's hard to keep that kind of positive, I will do better the next shot, or try better the next shot kind of attitude. Right, so Shane, 2 straight on this 7 ball, or actually with a tiny angle. And naturally his cue ball is going to draw towards the 9, which is not ideal yet. So a bit of a stun draw there, just flicking his cue ball a little bit more to the right with that stun speed, and still also having some draw. So this should be doable. SVB going to take his first lead of the game. Pretty important time to do so. And he will be breaking, because this will mean stealing Marc's break. Oh yeah. So Shane looking to take a 2-rack lead in making this cut break successfully. So wants to draw his cue ball straight to the left, so not lower than the 1 ball. Higher is okay, of course not in the left side pocket. So that's an ideal line. You see that? Although he made the 1 ball as well, but the 2 ball ended up pretty nice. And if we're looking at the 2, 3, 4, 5, this 2 ball, key shot in this rack. And the 7 to the 8, well, it might need a little bit of traveling as well, looking ahead of things. But currently all you need to know, if you're the one playing this rack, is get a shot on the 3, because from the 3 to the 4 is pretty automatic, as you can imagine. Beautiful stun power shot. Very nicely brought himself in an ideal line, really. Wants to be pretty straight on the 4 ball. Because of that rule explained earlier, the 5 ball is connect the dots with the 4 ball, so leave little to no angle on the 4, therefore. But then, on the 5, does want to have at least a 20-degree angle, because it wants to maneuver his cue ball closer to the 7 ball. And likewise on the 7 ball, wants to have an angle on that 20 to 40 degrees either way of the 7, either left or right of the 7 ball, to maneuver his cue ball to the 8 ball. And then again, same thing, because the 8 is not a connect the dots position with the 9. See, in that way, you can kind of dissect the way you play rotation games. A lot of times the same thing does occur. Now it doesn't mean that it's easily executed, but that does whittle it down into a few kind of golden rules that we will try to make you aware of here at the Billiard Network. Hey, we would like you to press the like button if you are enjoying watching this match, whether you are rooting for any of these 2 players or just want to see some world-class pool. And that is being displayed right now by Shane, raising his level when he needs it most. Let us know where you're watching it from. We would love to hear your location, not your exact location, we're not too Big Brother like that, but really interested to hear where you're watching this from and who you would like to see featured here on the Billiard Network, which by now must be the largest pool of great pool matches available on YouTube, especially featuring male and female players, male versus female players, and really from a vast array of locations in the world. American tournaments, European Euro Tour tournaments, we got European Championship tournaments, we have this, the biggest individual or private European Open pool tournament. We've got so much to offer. We have a whole section with Earl Strickland, the legend, the Pearl, commenting on quite a few matches, and a lot of fans have been telling us they really like Earl's commentary, so go check that out in the Billiard Network library. Right, so Shane does what he was given the chance to do with that good break. Marc, though, at the table to try to take it back to 6-7. Right, made both the corner ball and the 1 ball. And that 2 ball danced pretty nicely towards the cue ball. But does he have enough angle on the 2? I mean, I think he can even stop his cue ball there and have a shot on the red 3. Or he would be able to see all of the red 3 that he needs to make it in the bottom right corner pocket. Would love to bring his cue ball closer to the 3 though. I think if he has any kind of little angle, should be able to stun his cue ball to the right from where we're looking. Boom. Nice. Alright, so wants to stun his cue ball at least back to where his hand is now. Nice. I mean, you can just see kind of the minimal stroke or arm movement, no body movement in Marc's technical execution, and that cue ball just moved effortlessly. And I can tell you, he didn't have that much angle on the 3 ball. It's just hitting the cue ball sweet. Acceleration in his last forward swing. Very important. And just a good timing all around and good tip position, you know. Like this one, half a tip below center. You know, don't go lower, don't go higher. Beautiful rack by Marc, this. Really showing himself and Shane that he is still at the races. So Marc the Beast Bijsterbosch taking his tally to 6 racks. Shane's got 7. It's a race to 11. It's getting close to the nitty-gritty time. Will it be squeaky bum time, as Sir Alex Ferguson, the legendary Man United manager, once called the final minutes of a match. Whoa, hello. 4 balls on the break and no shot on the 4. Ooh, Shane not happy with that. Now what? What would you do here? I'm asking you because I don't know. I mean, he of course could softly roll the 4 behind the 8, but that's, you know, a definite hit, and these players will then be able to hit the 4 ball and kick it on a certain side and play safe off of that in most scenarios. So you want to give him something more difficult. What's that though? Bank it back up table and black. Okay, that's wow. Very nice. Because the rail that the 4 ball is closest to, you know, Marc can't escape off of that one. You'd imagine him hitting this, and then he would like to hit the 4 ball either on the left or right side. Try to create distance between the 4 and the cue ball. And if anything, wants to make the 7, 9, 5 ball come into effect and hopefully form some kind of defensive wall. Not a certainty though, because if he hits the 4 ball on the right side, his cue ball is going to go towards the side pocket. So kind of wants to hit it on the left side. Ooh, it's a good hit. Yep. So Marc did apologize, I believe, there, because he wanted to hit the 4 ball on the left side. So he kind of hit it too wide, but still hit it in the realm of good hit points and got away with it for now. Although Shane might jump this in, and did he really get away with it then? Ooh. So a potential very thin cut. Cue ball will probably come back up table to where it is now though, and avoid hitting the orange 5. So could attempt to just cut the ball in, even though that's difficult enough, but then doesn't have to do anything else with his cue ball besides hitting it at a good speed, like so. Oh, I didn't think he was going to hit it. Yeah. Of course he didn't envision that. Still got a shot though, so you gotta kind of be happy about it, I guess. And just trust in your aiming and execution and stroke talents. Could roll this in soft and shoot the brown 7 in the left side pocket, or the pocket that he's bridging from. Ooh. Yikes. Is he going to bank it or play safe? I mean, he's not even thinking about it. He's quickly decided to bank it. Now, is this out of rage or out of Wow. What a correction there. Marc really showing his talent. Smooth operator. I think that should be his nickname, really. He's not a beast at all. He's just smooth stroker. Really like to watch Marc's game. Really makes the cue ball move kind of the way I think it's intended to do. Alright, so 7-all. Boys and girls. Let us know any comments you have, any thoughts you may have on this match. Or anything pool related for that matter. We'd love to hear your thoughts and your opinions and your preferences of how we show these matches, who we show on the Billiard Network. It's all kind of one pool family, and we are glad you're watching this, and we appreciate you and you all. So, dry break. That's pretty crazy. A nice easy starter for Shane. 4 to the 5 requires some attention. 6 to the 7 requires some movement. I'm just looking ahead of things. I hope you're following me. Kind of wants to keep position on the 4 in line with where the 3 is now. So basically wants to have like a 10-degree angle on the position on the 3. Okay, that's maybe more than he bargained for. Because the 3 ball, if he would stun his cue ball just in the same line as where the 3 is now, would offer a drawback position from the 4 to the 5. Now, as you can see just him pointing, he's going to stun draw the cue ball over to the north side of the table, the north right side, but also needs to come below, so far enough up table from where we're looking, so he has a natural angle to go from the 4 to the 5, so he needs to travel. So I'm quickly walking behind the 4, just hoping that that cue ball was traveling enough, because he knew it wasn't a certainty. I think he just got there, or could even force the angle with cheating the pocket so slightly. Oh, careful. See, I immediately saw when the cue ball left the 4 ball, that line that looked like bringing him towards the 5 ball, and so it did. Right, so naturally the cue ball drifts straight up towards the top short rail. Can he bring his cue ball en route to just miss the 9 on the left side, but also miss the brown 7, hit the top rail, and then come back for the green 6? Also needs, well, kind of straight in position on the 6 will also do to draw it back for the 7. So first things first, he's going to apply a right spin and come the other way. Nice. Now wants to come nice and straight. That's not great because, you know, there's more room for positional play on the right side of the 7 ball. That's not easy to get there. Top spinning your cue ball might run it into the 9. So he's going to draw it to the left rail, but needs a lot of right spin. And as you can see, he only has like a 10-degree angle or so, 15 degrees. So really needs to whack his cue ball. He's going to hit the 6 ball pretty straight to make it, or pretty full on. And therefore his cue ball is going to lose a lot of energy. So he's going to have to give it a lot of energy. Here we go. Look at the cue ball. Of course, don't forget to make the 6. Woo! Yeah, that is a Shane special. As you can see, compared to the first half of the match, in the second half of the match, Shane has definitely produced better quality play, therewith taking an 8-7 lead. Race to 11, remember, Shane needs 3, Marc needs 4, so all to play for. Nice, got the corner ball down on the cut break. I mean, the one ball hit the side pocket knuckle, and of course it's going to be hard to predict where that goes. He's got a shot though, but didn't make the 3-point rule, I believe. Ooh. So made 1 ball and only the 7 ball passed the breaking line. See, in that respect, he hit him good, he hit him hard enough, and then the 3-point rule is a bit of a bummer, in my opinion, with which you may agree or you may not. So Marc has the option to either take the shot, give it back, or can even push out himself. If he gives it back to Shane, Shane can play it or push out himself. So those are the options. You can cut it in really thin, but it's hard to hold your cue ball for position on the 2. Okay, so he was playing safe all the way. Good shot, because with that decision he was able to hit the 1 ball, half ball, 2/3 of a ball, and they would all kind of bring him to these positions, whereas trying to make the 1 ball that thin, there's only a small hitting point that gives you success. So that's often what the players are looking for. If you can hit a ball with safety, sometimes you can hit a ball, half ball, 2/3 of a ball, and it will kind of give the same reactions. Well, then that's easier to do than having only, let's say, a certain hit point, if you catch my drift. So Shane gonna jump this. Don't think it will bank past the 8 in the left side pocket. Hard to play safe though, because it's hard to hit it thin. That 1 ball is kind of always gonna come towards or come out of that rail. Yeah, it's almost better off kicking at it. And then he's looking at that now, I believe. Or is he looking at the direction he wants to hit the 1 ball in? So I believe he's jumping it, but wants to hit the 1 ball on the right side and send the 1 ball 1 or 2 rails, well, hopefully behind the 7 ball or something, and then leave his cue ball here on the south side of the table, using 1 or all of those balls as a blocker. One thing achieved. I'm really living every shot. He almost got there, didn't he? But as things stand, he didn't get there. It was a tough action because of how thin he had to hit that 1 ball to make it move like that. His cue ball was likely to have too much speed, which eventually proved true. It was a good hit though. Good plan, good hit. Sometimes it's just, you can't always get away with it. Right, so a theoretical pot to the right corner pocket. Would you go for this? I mean, it's hard. Could drift his cue ball safe where it is now, behind the 5 ball, behind the 9 ball. But it looks like he's applying bottom left. You're going to bank the 1 ball back up table and leave the cue ball where the 1 ball is now. Not sure about that one. Even though he kind of got away with it, because in making the 1 ball, there's no position on the blue 2. That's next to the cue ball right now. What would you do? Could bank the 1 cross side. Could... I don't really see many other options. You don't just want to hit the 1 ball full on and try to get the 1 ball to go behind the brown 7 or something. That's just, even if he gets the snooker, the player is always going to kick and hit it. But what else? Bank the 1 and try to get safe out of it as well. meaning banking the 1 on the right side, getting the cue ball to drift from the 1 ball straight to the top rail and then back down towards where the chalk is now. I mean, I'm really nearly, it's guessing work here. Help me out here, Billiard Network viewers. Yeah, the bank banked it too short. See, he did bring his cue ball. See, this you would have to see as a success, really. I mean, of course the player's at the table, he's not snookered, but the pot is theoretically on. But position on the 2 is nigh on impossible to get, or even impossible. So he's looking at banking the 1 in between the brown 7 and pink 4 to get it back down to the south side of the table, but it won't be easy to get his cue ball to find cover behind the 7 itself. So there's also not like a clear, you know, with a lot of shots in pool, you kind of clearly can see what the option is you're supposed to execute well. But here, it's kind of like you're trying something which is maybe not really on. So could pot it in top left and send his cue ball around 3 rails. That might eventually be, the option. If the safety is so hard to come by, sometimes just go for the attacking option, because there is still a possibility that you can get away with it if you miss it. And so it turns out to be. Now, in my philosophical view of the game, I don't consider this misfortune, I don't consider it fortune, I just consider it balls rolling on the table. Sometimes it works well for you, and can he actually make this ball? But yeah, it's not like if Marc had snookered Shane now, that's for me is like a lucky shot by Marc or something. Oh, he wasn't even snookered. Beautiful shot by Shane. Yes. Minimal angle on this 2 ball. Should be able to work his cue ball, or at least stun it towards the 3. But yeah, what I'm merely saying is just accept whatever the table gives you, whether that's snookers, whether that's... And in my opinion, and I've been playing for about 35 years, it all kind of evens out, especially in a whole career, or and often in a match even, you know, what people call rolls, or yeah, stuff just happens, and even if it doesn't even out, then that's just the way it is. Right, so Shane, with that beautiful position from the 1 to the 2, looking to take a 9-7 lead, and in a race to 11, that could prove pivotal. So just choosing the point from which he wants his cue ball to come off of the 2nd rail. So anything, if you look at the right long rail, the top 3 diamonds there, anything off of that middle diamond onwards, his cue ball is going to be spinning towards the orange 5. And therewith he will have quite a few revolutions with which his position is just guaranteed, like so. So even though it looked like close to not being successful, the route that he chose gave him more revolutions of the cue ball where he would be successful. And that's often the way you want to go. Right, so ideal angle, stun it towards the rail, leave either no or a little bit of angle on the 7. It's all workable. 8 ball kind of wants to be shot in any of these bottom four pockets. Sometimes preference in this instance might shoot the 8 ball in the left side. Right, so on his penultimate shot, he is in perfect line. to make the final kill of this rack. Right, so Shane coming up with the goods in the latter stages of this match. The Bucharest Predator Open 2022 last 16 match. So the winner of this match qualifies for the quarterfinals. You know, getting close to winning this tournament. Now, can Marc make a comeback, or a small comeback? It's not like he's that far behind. Right, so made the one ball, didn't make the quarter ball. I think he overcut the break ever so slightly. So what to do now? Again, could hit the 2 ball on the right side from where we're looking. Therewith banking the 2 towards the 3 and guiding his cue ball behind the 9, behind the 4. Giving quite a few revolutions of cue ball success. And he can hit the 2 ball half ball, 2/3 of a ball, and it will all kind of give him a fairly good result, like so. This may not be exactly the way he sketched it, but even if he would have hit that 2 ball a bit thinner, kind of something similar would have happened. And even if you would have hit it a slightly bit thicker, a not too dissimilar thing would have happened. So Shane definitely snookered. I think he wants to jump this, or can he actually see this 2 ball? Can he bank the 2 and bank it to safety, if anything? Yeah, so he's going for the bank, but if anything, mostly he was trying to bank it like so that the cue ball would go 2 rails and then back to where it is now, or to where it is now. It's not like it came from there. Now, what would you do if you were Marc, being 7-9 down against SVB in the last 16 single elimination stage, and you really have to bring some quality? So he's pointing his cue there. Could try to get his 2 ball or the cue ball there. But nothing is really natural here, so he's going to have to hit a very specific side and specific speed. Wow, nice shot. Knew that the bank was on, knew that those pink, orange and black ball could form a really defensive wall had he missed it. Now though, next conundrum, how to get position on the pink 4. I mean, he would love to shoot. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. That's probably the way to go, with a bit of top left spin. Spin it around the brown 7, and then leave his cue ball somewhere near the middle diamond of this bottom short rail. So smooth roll, top left spin, but make the ball, of course, first. Oh! Yikes. That could prove so costly. It could prove deadly for his prospects of winning this match in the tournament. Didn't give the pot away though. I mean, could he? I mean, he could potentially cut this in, because even if you shave the left rail by which the 3 ball is laying, it might still be accepted by the jaws. Otherwise, kind of has to bank his 2 rails towards the 5 and his cue ball behind the pink black ball. Ooh, so cut the 3 in. Yeah. Just hit it with, of course, speed and a somewhat positive attitude. I mean, he could have been snookered as well, but as things stand, the 4 ball doesn't go, of course. Does it? Does he play the combination? I don't know. What's he gonna do, viewers? He doesn't know. So he could bank the 4 ball, so hit the 4 ball full in the face and bank it down table and back up table. Yeah, like so. And then use the orange and black ball as blockers. That doesn't look easy. He's banking the 4 and stunning the cue ball behind the 8. Yes, the cue ball behind the 8. Ooh! I mean, that's a result. I mean, the first half he got correct, and then, well, it's hard to describe exactly what happened then, but we all saw it. We don't have replays, no need for that. Nor does Mark want to see that again. So, looking at the 5-8 combo, I think that's lined up fairly nicely. Maybe looking to kick in the 4 ball in the pocket nearest us. Or stop his cue ball behind the 5. Wow, good shot by Mark. So I wanted to hit that 4 ball full on or just a little bit to the left of it. And that would stun his cue ball off of the 4 into that 5-8 little situation there, which he did expertly. So, good shot by Mark, still producing quality. You know, made a mistake in the previous rack, but it didn't get him down, and I think in the past it may have done so. But he's turning into or has turned into an experienced, high quality 9-ball and 10-ball player, well, pool player in general. Shane jumping this 4 ball in or banking it, making the 4-9 carom. Ooh, didn't clear the first hurdle. Alright, so Marc Bijsterbosch with that nice kick after that fairly fortunate save by Shane, or unplanned, let's not call it fortune. Leaving Mark with an open table and should be getting back to a 1-game deficit. As you could see though, even though the 6 and the 7 are in front of the pocket, it's not like he's rushing through it, because he knows he needs a very specific position on the 7 ball to get position on the 8. If you need a specific position on the 7 ball, it means you need a specific position on the 6 ball to make position on that 7 ball as easy as possible. So it's kind of just working backwards. You know, knows the 8 needs attention. And this is exactly the angle he wanted to have on the 7 ball. So he can roll it in naturally and roll towards the black and shoot the black, either in the side or in the corner. But again, just giving himself the most rotations, cue ball rotations of success option. Right. Good match this is, isn't it? I mean, of course, every match has its misses, its unexpected misses. This also has some fantastic safety play, kicking, jumping, breaking. Let's see what Shane can do. Make the corner ball ping 4. Avoid making the 1. Did so. See, this is a textbook cut break. If you can have that 1 ball miss the side pocket and track 2-3 rails towards, in this case, top left side of the table, in Mark's case, because he's breaking from the other side that Shane's breaking from. His 1 ball would be exactly on the right side of the table, but in the same kind of area. Still though, 1 to the 2 needs quality and cue ball zippingness. Here we go. And what could he do? He could stun draw it just above the right side pocket and then let the spin, a lot of right spin, take it towards the 2. You know, even if he's by the right side pocket, that could be enough, as long as he's, of course, not snookered behind the 9. Sometimes that's just a cut you have to accept, if that's what can help you further along. And what else? See, that's what he's looking at now. What else could he do? I mean, he could do the same thing, but zip his cue ball harder and really make it spin towards or into the 2-ball. And then kind of, you know, more often than not, he will get a shot after hitting the 2-ball. Okay, was able to hit it thicker. Yeah, good shot. Good tip position. You know, of course, theoretically could have gone wrong in hitting that 8-ball, but you know, about 15 out of 20 times of hitting that 8-ball, he would have got the shot on the 2. Right, so with this angle, cue ball drifts straight into the bottom rail and comes straight back in between the 3-9. So this is a little bit of an editing error of which I was made aware, so that you're not tripping and you're not just kind of imagining stuff. This is the lag again, but that's going to disappear and we will be back where we were. So here we are. Shane wants to drift his cue ball in between the 3-9. Oh, how can he overcut that ball from how close he was? That is unexpected. Wow. At this point of the match, Shane, I mean, must be hungry or something. Must have something else on his mind. So, leave his cue ball where the 2-ball is now, ish. Oh, what's Marc doing? That's too much speed. Unless he can cut it in the side pocket. That makes it a lot more difficult. Won't be able to maneuver his cue ball much more than where the 3-ball is now. And we'll have to accept a bigger cut on the 5-ball. Most likely. Yeah. I mean, you know, 20 seconds ago when he was aiming at that 2-ball, this is not what he imagined. Anyway, maybe a bit of tension in the arm. Maybe a bit of a lapse of concentration by both players. Slow rolling this 5-ball to leave the 6 in the side. Yep, well played. So now back in line. Natural position, cue ball will just drift left side of the 7. Okay, he stunned it. Like a bit of an angle. Just gonna top right spin it out of that corner. No. Wow. What was that? I mean, Marcus. Anyway, he doesn't need me to tell him once more. That was incredible. Just a lack of focus. I mean, everybody knows that was an unforced error, but you try to think what caused it, or never mind. Shane going to be 1 game away from his 11-game target. 10-8, Shane van Boening over Marc Bijsterbosch. Marc, though, back at the table for his cut break. Hasn't made the pink 4, I think has made the 6. Okay, makes the 4, makes the 1. Now hoping for the 2 to do something good. And cooperative it was. Right, so needs to stun his cue ball directly to the right. Bump a little bit out of that right long rail to avoid snookering himself behind the 7. I think that's what he's doing. Okay, so he stunned it even harder. Nice. I mean, so yeah, Marc really definitely has either got the chances or played himself into a position where he had chances to win more racks than he currently has, I guess. And again, he knows. And then it's all about how you can come to the table with your next opportunity, which is this one, which is pretty lovely, you have to say. Nice break. Nice shot on the 2. So all you can do is live in the current moment, and currently you can then make yourself a fresh and new player by just giving yourself your best shot, literally. The shot you're currently facing, which is this 9 ball, to take us back to 9 racks to 10. What a close game. Shane trailing at the beginning part of this match, leveling up at 5-all, leading, and then Marc coming back. But Marc never took the lead after that initial lead that he had, which was about 4-1, wasn't it? Right, so Shane, I mean, he could cut this 1 ball into the left side, but his cue ball is going to fly into the 9 ball. Which could turn out well, but if he hits the 9 ball on the right side, there's a good chance, or his cue ball is going to travel towards the bottom right corner pocket. I'm not sure you want to do that. I'm sure you don't want to do that. What else though, players? What are we looking at here? What if you wouldn't cut the one in the side? I mean, you could cut it inside and also apply draw to try to avoid hitting the 9. That needs a sweet stroke, if any, and an extremely accurate aim. Zip with the cue ball, avoided the 9 ball. Ooh. Is there a cut on this 2 ball? I think so. Well, theoretically, yes. But naturally his cue ball is going to come back to where it is now and kind of zip back and forth. So if you want to make it turn towards where he's aiming, towards the 7 ball, you need to roll it with a lot of right spin. There is still a scratching possibility in that right side pocket though. I mean, I've seen it happen even though you only have half a pocket to scratch in. Of course, if he hits the 7, he's okay. If he misses this right side pocket on the left side, he's great. Make the 2 ball though, firstly. Could hit the 9 and come towards the 3. Make the 2 ball though, firstly. Okay, so not what he wanted. So what he wanted was to just keep his cue ball below the 5-9 and just drift back to where about the 2 ball was, to accept a long shot on the 3. Now, of course he's going to accept this one, a bit more angle. This is not by design, but he will definitely accept it. So this, the key shot to winning this match and qualifying for the quarterfinals of the Predator Bucharest Open. Q-Tech sponsored Shane van Boening with this 3 ball for glory. I mean, was there any doubt? Would you not have put your house on that shot? You know, when the going gets tough, Shane definitely gets going. So he wants to make sure that his cue ball is either in the same line as the 9 to the 7 is, or a bit further to the right. But yeah, we're looking at a Marc missed opportunity, you would have to say. You know, Marc is playing well and will feel that himself. Played himself into contention and then shot himself out of it, really, by shooting himself slightly into his own foot. But hey, who knows, you know, if this would have turned 10-all, Marc may have broken dry and Shane could have still run out. You know, you never know. But Marc would have wanted to see what happened without those misses. Alright, so Shane, a bit of composure. These 2 balls for a place in the quarterfinal. We thank you so much for joining us. Go check out some of the other videos. We have a lot of great pool action coming up on the Billiard Network. And yeah, we appreciate your viewership, and see you later. My name is Rico for the Billiard Network. Thanks for watching, and we will see you all from a pool table somewhere else in the world with some other players, although maybe SVB again, because he's pretty nifty, isn't he? Thanks for watching. All the best. Take care.